Stick with me today. Here, a second ago. That's it. That's it. Shabbat Shalom, Erev Tov. We are going to open our Sidurim on page 142. Page 142. Gatos Baruch Ichuni leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malchei Amlachim Ad Gatos Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Amlachim, Ad Gatos Baruch Shabbat Shalom. It is actually in this Torah portion, Parashat Vayetze. Well, I was going to say that it is a great idea, but it was my idea to do that. So it might be complimenting myself, but it feels so right to begin Shabbat thinking about the angels that we welcome and that we ask for them to join us throughout Shabbat. And the reason is because in this Torah portion we have Sulam Yaakov, Jacob ladders, and we have this very emblematic image of the angels going up and down, that for, I don't know, at least 2,000 years, people have been painting, and well, maybe less painting, but telling stories about what that means. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. And it's a beautiful, at least for tonight, a beautiful idea to think about the fact that there are places in which we are accompanied by very special forces and energies. And there are other places in which we have other forces and other energies. And Shabbat has its very, very, very particular and special strength and energy. The energy of creation, the energy of time, energy of community, the energy of prayer. And in this Torah portion, Parashat Vayetzei, in which we think about transitions, moving from one place to another, and we are reminded of the ability that we have not only to move from one place to another, but also to transform ourselves, to internally move from one place to another. We are reminded that in the place where we are, there's a strength and there's an energy for us to connect with. Hopefully that place is right now this place. So Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Shir Hadash. We are going to light Shabbos candles on page 120. I'd like to invite Irit and Leo and Mia to lead us in the blessing for the Shabbat candles.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שקידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Thank you for bringing the light of Shabbat, the energy of Shabbat to this place and to us. We'll now turn our studio room to page 130 for Lechu Neranenam as we move, we stand our feet to welcome Shabbat in joy, with joy. Shir Hadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom, Shuato, Sapru hagoyim, Kevodo, Bechol ha'amim, Mizleotav. On page 132, אדוני מלך תגל הארץ, ישמחו יהים רבים. הנ"ל ברפל סביבו, צדק ומשפט מחון, כי היסו, אור זרוע לצדיק ולשרי לב, שמחה. A light is planted within the heart, at the midst of the righteous, and for those seekers of righteousness, of a path of righteousness, of integrity, a foundation for joy, for simcha. On page 133, מזמור שיר לאדוני שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה. We sing in Shabbat a song of renewal as we try to look anew at the beauty of our experiences, at the beauty of the things that we encounter over our weeks, and sometimes we take for granted. We try to look at them with renewed eyes. We are on page 134 for Psalm 95, Samru Ladonai. הרים ירננו לפני אדוני קירה לשפוט הארץ לשפוט ארץ ועמים במשען הרים ירננו We move to page 136. We are reminded that there are certain things for which we stand in our lives. And it is traditional. We don't have that tradition at Shir Hadash, maybe yet, I don't know. But it is traditional to rise for Psalm 29 in Shabbat. And while you're standing or sitting, and I invite you to think about what are the things that make you stand up, the miracles, the beauties, the meaningful things for which you stand up during your week. Page 136, Mizmor LeDavid. אבו לאדוני ונעלים מזמור לדוד אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו איי 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 השלום, אדוני עוש לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו השלום. היי, 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 יאללה, ליי, 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 יאי, ליי, ליי, היי, ליי, 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 יאללה, ליי, 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 יאי, אדוני עוש לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו השלום, אדוני עוש לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו השלום. I don't know if you noticed, but I have very little voice. And actually, I think it's a great opportunity to increase your voices. And so, let's do something, actually, off script. There's a melody that we introduced for Lechadodi more than a month ago, but it's pretty new for our community. Let's work on that melody for a second. And we're going to do two melodies. But the number two, you know it well. So number one, we'll work on it together, and so you can increase the volume of your singing. You're all singing perfectly and wonderfully, but let's increase the volume. So it will help. This microphone can't give anymore. It's very little what's coming out. So the melody is actually pretty simple. It goes like this. Nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, na, 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 nai, nai, nai. Let's try that. Yai, nai, 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 na, 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 nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, 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 nai. Nai, 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 nai. That's it. Nai, 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 nai. Nai, 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 nai. Let's do it again. Nai, 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 nai. Nai, 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 nai. Nai, 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 nai. Nai, 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 nai. And then Lechadodi likrat kala. פני שבת נקווה, פני שבת נקווה לה. That's all. So let's try it out. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת, לשם ולתפארת בלי תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקווה לה, פני שבת נקווה לה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מכן נסוכה, סוף מעשה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקווה, פני שבת נקווה לה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך אפיך. רב לשבת בעמק הבכה, בהוא יחמול, בהוא יחמול עלי חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקווה, פני שבת נקווה לה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי. על יד בני שי בית הלחמי, כל קרובה אל נפשי, קרובה אל נפשי, קהלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת, נקבלה, פני שבת, נקבלה, התעוררי,
כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי את אדוני.
כאות אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי, נקבלה. תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תמי, בך יחסו אני אהיה עמי, ונמנתה הרלתי לה, היי ליי ליי היי היי ליי 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 לחדות, היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 לקראת כאן, היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 פני שבת נקבלה, היי ליי ליי היי היי ליי ליי לחדותי, היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 לקראת כאן, היי ליי 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 פני שבת נקבלה, היי ביולים שששוסייך ברחקו כל מבלייך, יאסיס עלייך אלוהייך, תמסוס חתן על קהלה, היי ליי ליי היי היי ליי 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 לחדותי, היי ליי 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 שלום העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני העם סגולה, בואי חלה שבת המלכה, ליי 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 לחדות, ליי 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 היי ליי 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 לקראת קלה, היי ליי 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 פני שבת נקבלה, היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 פני שבת נקבלה. Welcome Shabbat. We are going to take a moment to welcome each other, to say good Shabbos, to say Shabbat Shalom אחד לשני, to each other. Go. Shabbat Shalom. Kabbalat Shabbat.
That's what they're doing right now. That's why they all ran out.
And they go now. Friends, we are going to turn our Shir into page 140. 140. One more time for Shabbat. Tzadik katan mar Ifram Keres Balvanon Izgei Sheturim Bevet Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrihu On Yeluhu Hagim Yishran Adonai Uri Elohav Latavo Hagim Yishran Adonai We're on page 144 for Hetzi Kaddish.
It's gadol, it's kadash, and Be'amadi rachirite, be'amlik malhurite, be'hayeyon, uvyom be'hon, uvayedem ol beit Yisrael.
Amulol be'amaya Yitbarach
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitaytar v'yitalei v'yitalam shemei d'kodashah v'yichu v'yalam yikol b'rata v'shirata tush
Bechatar nehemata
Amiron be'amam v'himheru Amen.
We turn our Shir into page 146 for Baruch. Please rise as we turn toward Yerushalayim.
La
on page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, the ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, who arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. ומהביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברוך שמו, ממהרי ורבין. Page 150, as we are getting closer to the reading of the Shema, we think of the presence of an everlasting love. אהבת עולם אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. You have given us eternal love. And we think about, I invite you to think, to close your eyes for a moment, if you are capable of doing that or feel comfortable doing that, and to pause for a second. Think about what grounds you. In this Torah portion, Parashat Vayetze, that we say the word Amakom, the place, again and again. We're encouraged to think about what makes us feel connected, grounded. And I think about that. I want to invite you to think about the comfort, the feeling of connection that emerges from feeling grounded, from being grounded, the sense of love and safety. And as we think of that love, I invite you to pay attention to your breath. Breathe in and out, inhale, exhale. With each breath, try to recognize the energies that you're carrying in this Shabbat that don't belong to you. And as you exhale, just let them out. Let them go. So often we are so attached to energies that don't belong to us. And the outcome is so negative. With each breath, we connect more deeply with our core, with our own ground. To take one deep breath. As we ask to become one with the makom, with the place, with the space. We say, "Be'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim." Dear God, please never remove your love from us. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Israel. Blessed are you, Adonai, who love your people, Israel. We are on page 152 for the Shema. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Ve'ahavta
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על משושות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם בארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We're on page 156. אמת במונקו, אסור וקיים עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו בנצולתו ואנחנו ישראל עמו. We will continue with the silent reading over page 156. מלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. Your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. On page 158. Ichamocha ba'elim Adonai.
Ichamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati not osefel, norati not osefel.
בניך פוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, צליח עלו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch Ata Adonai, Gaal Israel. We're on page 160. The prayer for our inner peace. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom. Ashkivenu Adonai. ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. שומרנו לחיים, השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, בעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, over the city of Shalom, Jerusalem. And we say Amen. We are on page 162, as we say, שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. It is a covenant among generations to make Shabbat a part of our lives. And as Hadam well said, and to let Shabbat among generations, along the generations, to keep us alive. It's a sign of how we want to live our lives, what kind of connections we want to have. And with that in our hearts, we'll turn our study into page 164 for Tfilat Amidah. Please rise as we turn toward Jerusalem. Adonai. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare. We take a moment for silent prayer. bottom of page 180, we say, "Yularatzon imrei fi, ve'yon livi lefonecha, Adonai, tzuri begoali, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer." And we say together, בעברית, in Hebrew, עושה שלום באמרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. We'll take a moment now to acknowledge those that are dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls. We think of those wrestling with addictions, and we think of those carrying grief. If there is a name that you like to share in this Erev Shabbat, I invite you to do so as we go around our tefillah circle. We're thinking of Scott Van Gundy, Dave Stoll, Patja Peters, Sondra Goldberger, Mira Engel, Victoria Spiller, Bardeen Coven, Sandy Corman, Larry McGuan, David Spodek, Lori Chaikin, Debbie Pink, Rich Siebriger, Jim Rosenfeld, Naomi Levinson, Ruth Murad, Liz Herman, Emma Raymond, Jadi Sutton, Eileen Kashak, Bernice Paris, Ivor Barber, Don Barnett, Alex Chapman, and Shelley Goodman-Taub, and Arlene German, and Nava Stur. We'll say now the words of for tradition, for the request of healing, Elna Refana La, E minor. As we try to bring our loving energies and our attention to the healing of those that need it right now. Na refana la, el na refana la, el na refana la, el na refana la. Let's say it again. El na refana la, el na refana la, el na refana la, el na refana la. אז נתחזק ונתרפא אל נא רפנה לה, אל נא רפנה לה, אל נא רפנה לה, אל נא רפנה לה. ויש רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה. All those that need it, and we say Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Look, this is how it's going to work. I will start sharing with you my Bar Torah. At some point, I might have no voice anymore, but I have my notes written, so we might have like one volunteer on my right or my left to help out. I think we're going to make it. So, have you ever felt like life? Well, candy is an important thing. Have you ever felt like life just hands you a rock and says, here, make it work? Have you ever been in that situation? Well, in this Torah portion, Jacob uses a rock as a pillow, so maybe our situation is not that bad. And on the other hand, have you ever felt, and maybe more seriously asking, in a place that feels ordinary, even chaotic, and only later you realize that place of struggle, of difficulty, was filled with meaning and potential? Jacob leaves Beersheba and heads toward Haran and stumbles upon a place, a makom. The Torah says, Jacob left Beersheba, ויצא יעקב מבאר-שבע וילך חרנה, ויפגע במקום, וילן שם, כי באה השמש, וישכב במקום. Jacob left Beersheba and sets out to Haran. He came upon a makom, ויפגע במקום, and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of a makom, he put it under his head and lay down in that place, in that makom. In Hebrew, makom means place, but it's also one of God's names. This tells us that every place holds divine presence, and that every place has the potential to grounding us to something that is actually bigger. Now, this Torah portion is about transition, and there's sometimes an inherent pain to transitions, but not all transitions are as painful. So Jacob's journey isn't about moving from one location to another. It's a major life shift. The Kedushat Levi, the Hasidic commentator, rabbi, links the word Haran, as the Torah portion says, Vayelech, and he will go in the direction of Haran. Harana is in the direction of Haran, to the concept Haron Af, meaning anger. He's going to a place of anger. This anger hints the future exiles of Jacob's descendants. I'm going to give you a little bit of context. The Kedushat Levi will say that basically when he falls asleep, he sees all the exiles that the people of Israel, his children, will experience over the years. And the text says, Jacob encountered a makom, the translation says, encountered a makom, ba'ifga ba'makom, and the word ba'ifga comes from the same root as libgoa. Libgoa means to harm, to hurt. So Jacob isn't just finding a spot to rest, he's facing the pain of exile, he is feeling hurt and harm. And more interestingly is that he's not the only one feeling hurt. He says that if Gaba Makom, he will hurt the place. So he is grieving, and apparently God is grieving with him. Now, sorry, never been good at that. The situation in which we sometimes find ourselves in which we are out of place, that things are in the wrong place, that we are not in the right place, like the makom, our space, feels strange. It's a very, very common one. The experience of feeling out of place is one of the most common human experiences. As a matter of fact, the story of humanity starts with two individuals that are sent out of the place that was meant to be their place. Adam and Eve. It's always about finding our place. But there are places that are easier than others. And the experience of feeling out of place hits in different ways and in different levels at different times. So today we see examples of what it looks like and what it feels like to be out of place, because the translation to what happens when you're out of place is Haron Af, that you are really angry, boiling anger. So when we think about anger in our world, we see the destruction that is celebrated and morality that often is turned upside down. Reactions to, for example, to the killing of CEO Brian Thompson this week that showcase two different things, right? Like, on one hand, the deep systemic shortcomings of our country, and on the other hand, a messed up morality with people celebrating the assassination of an individual in the streets of this country. Very similar to the ongoing situation and turbulence in the Middle East, the war between Gaza, Hamas in Gaza, and Israel, the situation with Syria, the war in Ukraine, in which we have this language of we're going to win. Like, what's that language of we're going to win? No, we're not going to wars because we want to win wars. And the outcome or the desirable outcome of a war is not winning, it's shalom. Like, we Jews pray at least 3 times a day for shalom. The language of we're going to win, sure, like you want your side, because the assumption is that you're on the side that is seeking for shalom and well-being to overcome whatever we are fighting, but the hope is not to win. The hope is to establish shalom and freedom. Now, but these are at a large scale. We also have struggles that mirror those big and large sources of anger and commotion in our personal lives. Where is work issues? You tell me if you identify one of them. You don't have to. Work issues, family problems, or at times when everything feels just overwhelming. We all experience moments when the world feels like it's boiling over us. It is difficult to make sense of the world when that's happening, and it is difficult to make sense of our lives while experiencing this kind of motion, Beersheba, Harana. Beersheba means, Be'er means well, and Sheva is quantity of blessings. It's a place of abundance, of goodness. And Harana is not, right? So we are sometimes in these motions, and it's difficult to make sense of our lives. Now, in this vulnerable state, Jacob dreams, he sees a ladder, a sulam Yaakov, reaching from the earth to heaven with angels going up and down. God stands beside him and says, the ground on which you are lying, I will assign to you and your offspring. Remember, I am with you. I will protect you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. Now, this dream confirms that Jacob is the rightful heir of the blessing. Like, if he had any question when he was escaping the house of his parents, now God is telling him, you're fine, buddy. Just, you own this. Now, what's striking about this is that when he wakes up, he doesn't say, okay, it's time to turn around. He says, one of the most beautiful psukim verses in the entire Torah, אכן יש אדוני במקום הזה ואנוכי לא ידעתי. Surely there's God in this place, and I did not know it. And now, the big question is, you have like this big spiritual moment, you know that you are fine. You could go back home to your parents and the safety of their love. But he doesn't do that. And instead, he marks the moment and names the place Bethel, the house of God, and keeps moving forward. Now, side comment, in theory, that will be later on the place in which the Beit HaMikdash, the great temple, will be established. And that will symbolize the forever place of the Jewish people, right, to some extent. So, but that's for a different conversation. Now, why he does that? Why he keeps going? Because Jacob has learned something that is incredible. And good news, I told you that at the beginning of our conversation. The toughest, the most difficult place, and the most difficult times can reveal deep meaning, in this case, God's presence. Even in places of haron, of anger, or of libgoa, of harm, there is a chance to find strength and connection. But that's not what we look right for. When we are experiencing anger and harm, we want to punch back. And there's an important lesson here. The first one is that actually, in the places in which we are experiencing harm and anger, there might be an opportunity to find connection, not suggesting to try to find meaning out of feeling hurt. That's not the point. And not all hurts are created equal. But there are places in which we are tempted to punch back. And actually what we need to do is to lay down, to hold back, and to try to find connection. We'll talk about that in one more second. Now, I lost my line. Here it is. Now, why doesn't he stay? Because he needs to move. The makom becomes a starting point for building a home for his own. And later, for his descendants, as we said, is going to be the place for the national home for the Jewish people, the place where Beit HaMikdash will be established. Now, the word amakom appears 3 times in one sentence. Vayifga b'makom, vayikach mi'avnei hamakom, vayisham b'makom. He will hurt, touch the place, he will take from the stones of the place, and he will sleep in the place. Now, the first thing that happens to Jacob, vayifga b'makom, the guy collapses. He has a total meltdown. He's running away from home. He's emotionally overwhelmed and feeling the weight of his journey and uncertainty. He collapses. This reminds us that sometimes the first step in transitions is overwhelming, and what we need to do is to allow ourselves to stop, to acknowledge the hardship. And sometimes we don't have control over that. Sometimes we just collapse. The second part is grounding in the makom. He took one of the stones of amakom, echad mi'avnei amakom. Jacob grounds himself by using a stone from the place as a pillow. In chaos, we often need to find something stable to hold on to, whether it's a ritual, a memory, or a sense of purpose, to reconnect with what truly matters. And the third one is he lay down, b'makom, finding our breath in the space. Jacob finally relaxes into this sacred place, finding a moment of rest. This stage teaches us that once we ground ourselves, we can find the space to release tension and make room for new ideas and for clarity. Later on, as I mentioned, in a different verse, a few verses later, Jacob awakens, and what he speaks about the place, he says, Yesh Elohim b'makom haseh v'anochi lo yadati. There is God in this place, and I did not know this. This realization marks the culmination of his transformation. He recognizes that even in the most difficult place, unexpected places, divine presence and meaning can emerge. Parashat Vayetzeh reminds us that when we feel overwhelmed, angry, or lost, it's time to pause. That listening to our bodies and collapsing, as awful as it might be the first step in an important reframing process. We need to reconnect with what grounds us and what's truly important to us. Like Jacob, we hold into the pieces of the makom, a stone, a prayer, a tradition, to steady ourselves, to balance ourselves, to ground ourselves. But we can't stay there, because going back isn't an option, and it's not the real goal. Instead, we move forward, building our homes in the world, in our personal lives and in our communities. And maybe, like Jacob, as we breathe and open our eyes, at some point, we might be able to say there is God in this Makon, in this place, and I didn't know it. May we find our place of meaning and strength, of breathing, of reframing, and revisioning as we navigate our path in this sometimes too often boiling world. And may we find the strength to breathe, rethink, and move forward. Shabbat Shalom Mevorach. We'll continue our service on page 586 with Aleinu Leshabeach. We'll invite our children, those that are below the age of Bar Mitzvah, of Bnei Mitzvah. We have a bunch of many kids, but they are teenagers in the chapel doing their own service today. Please rise as we open the ark. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר וראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל ההמונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, עד קדוש ברוך הוא. page 590, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם בהן, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, היום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. You may close the parochet. Thank you very much. Much you may be seated. We'll now take a moment to acknowledge mourners in our community. We will first acknowledge your sites that we have in our list, and then we will acknowledge the mourners in the room. We are thinking of Daniel Prevail, father of Bruce Prevail, Esther Ball, great aunt of Bruce Harman. We are thinking of Gladys Abrams, mother of Fern Herman, Lee Bakar, mother of Nancy Fredkin, and Max Legod, father of, where's Alan? Of Alan Legod. Here you are. We now will acknowledge those that are mourners in the rooms. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning Shiva, please rise. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. And so if you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, Shel. Thank you. If you have a yahrzeit this week, please rise and share with us who is remembering. Now you can support our fellows while standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and your hearts for Kaddish Avelim, Mourners Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חירותה, בימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה, יתברך, בישתבח, ביתפאר, ביתרומם, ביתנשא, ביתהדר, ביתעלה, ביתהלל, שמי דקודשה, בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמה, באמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן, עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be always a blessing in your life. יהי זכרם ברוך. You may be seated. I am delighted to invite Matt Brannings to share some announcements with our community.
Yeah, Nico and I are both suffering from the Lost Voices Club today, so I'll do my best. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I've got to highlight a few announcements, but everything's up on the website calendar. So tomorrow, we've got a busy morning. We've got Shabbat Cafe starting at 9 with 9:30 Torah study. And at 10:30 a.m., we have the usual Shabbat service alongside with a special youth Shabbat service for kindergarten through 6th grade families for our new musician in residence, Lior Ben-Hur. For our tots, we have a tot Shabbat story time at 11:30. And after services, everyone is invited to the Shabbat lunch at 12:15. Please RSVP online. And on Sunday, Kulanu is in session, but also is our congregational town hall meeting. So that'll be a big one, 10:15 a.m. Be there. It's live and on Zoom. Please register online. And then previewing a couple upcoming items. On Saturday, December 14th, is the adult B'nai Mitzvah service. I know we're excited for that one. And on Friday, December 20th, is the pre-Hanukkah winter party. The details for that are on the website, but registration is open now, Friday the 20th. Thanks.
Thank you. We are going now to turn our study to page 124, I think, for Kiddush, Shel Yom HaShishi. We invite you to please rise. ויחולו השמיים בארץ בכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מיום מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Raise the cup. Oh, look at all these teenagers that came into a room. Come closer, don't stay in the back. Just all this space. Come closer. Okay, we have the Rosh of Salty. Aaron, do you want to come and lift the cup here in partnership? Come. Aaron, you. On Cormac. and Salty. Here you are. Yeah. Come on, friends. We'll help you out. You can say l'chaim to them. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שגישנו מצוותיו ונצבנו בשבת קודשו ואהובהו ברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי יום תחילה למקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ידענו קידשת עם כל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Raise the cup a little bit more. Raise it more. It took them some time, but they did. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashavat. Now you can drink from the cup. Nobody did before. We want to invite you got it. So as we are standing and sharing blessings, we will invite you to stand next to your beloved ones, to your chosen family, to your family. If your parents are not here, you might want to adopt a friend or let a friend adopt you, as we are going to share the blessings, the millennial blessings of our tradition. If you are a parentless teenager in this circle, you might want to stand next to Rabbi Michael. Rabbi Michael, extend your hands. We say to our children and to our beloved ones, may God inspire you to be like the loving parents of the house of Israel. May God inspire you to be like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, like Ephraim and Menashe. Asimchem Elohim, Kesara, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Kephraim, Menashe. And we say to all of you, to all of them, Yivarechechem Adonai be'ish merechem. May God bless you and protect you. Yer Adonai panav elechem bichunekem. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. Isa Adonai panav elechem. May you find within you God's presence always. And may you find the strength to rest, the wisdom to ground yourself, the courage to breathe and to stand up and to move forward in your journey. You have the peace to be who you are meant to be in this world. Be'asem lachem, be'asem lach, shalom. Adonai os le'amav iten. Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. May God give strength to its peoples to be embracers, to be makers, to be creators of shalom. And may God bless us with that shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Mevorach everybody. Shalom Rahav al Israel Amcha. Tasim le'olam. Betov beinech lechadon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon. Shalom Rahav al Israel Amcha. Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rahav al Israel Amcha. Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rahav al Israel Amcha. Tasim le'olam. Shalom, Shalom Rahav al Israel Amcha. Tasim le'olam. Good job, Shabbat Shalom everybody.